Welcome to Real Herbalism Radio, show 257, recorded at Big Dog Studios in Eugene, Oregon. This show is made possible by The Real Herb Market. Do you make herbal products for sale? At The Real Herb Market, we connect herbal makers like you with people who appreciate the power of natural herbal care. Become a seller at The Real Herb Market today. Visit them at therealherbmarket.com. Is your website ADA compliant? Do you even know what that means? If not, get your free ADA compliancy audit from mudpotdesign.com/free-ADA-audit today. Now here are your hosts.
I'm Candace Hunter.
I'm Patrick Hunter.
And welcome to Real Herbalism Radio.
Aroma, the scents. I mean, is there anything more appealing than, fresh roses or dandelion or, a good meal? I mean, all those aromas that we take for granted and things that zip us back to our childhood are just, it's scent is incredible, and she was so right on talking about aroma.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, and this she, by the way, was Erica. We should probably say Erica.
Yes, Erica. I was so glad that Erica came on the show and had a chance to stop and talk with us for a bit. She has got so much wisdom and so much knowledge or learning experience, all of it wrapped up into like one wonderfully joyful shell.
A shell, as it were.
Shell.
I thought it was great that she, I knew that she was an herbalist. I knew that she was an aromatherapy or aroma ancestral expert, really. But I really didn't know that she was harvesting and doing her own and doing the distilling and all of that. I mean, she was, it's almost like a one-stop shop with her. She also, when she was talking about hydrosols, those were interesting too, because we've made hydrosols. You and Sue actually made hydrosols.
Yeah, we did. We tried making our own hydrosol with lemon balm quite a while ago, and it was really fun. It was an interesting experience. I mean, we didn't have like a still or anything like that. We just did a really folk method style.
It was very folk.
Yeah, it was very folk. A couple of old pots, and
I think there was a brick involved.
Yeah,
and there was some boiling and some steam, but I'm sure nothing like what she's probably producing with a container with a coil and a cooling mechanism and a whole thing.
And her rituals that she does while she's doing the distilling. That's the kind of stuff that you don't think, it sounds kind of woo-woo, like, that's not really going to work.
It doesn't sound like Candace. It's totally woo-woo.
Yeah, it's easy to say, that's whatever, that doesn't work. But what I've noticed is that a lot of times when I have tried a variety of herbal products without necessarily knowing who made them or how they were made, just, trying them, it seems almost like 9 times out of 10, the ones that have the best effect, that are the most powerful, that are the most useful as really herbal remedies, come from people who have done exactly what she's doing. They have a ritual, they have an approach, they get their minds right while they're working. The energy that they bring into it makes a huge, huge difference. So, for instance, a handmade hydrosol from Erica is probably going to be a more effective hydrosol than one that was mass produced, done in a large facility with people who aren't really that close to the plants, that are just taking in tons and tons of plant material and producing it.
As you were saying that, it reminded me of restaurants and fast food. Like, when you make a hamburger at home. Yeah. And I remember being a kid, well, it doesn't taste like McDonald's burger. You're right, it doesn't. But when I started to think along that approach as well, like every hamburger outside of the home has a artificial flavor. Yeah. Unless you go to a really good
one of those fancy pants, artisan pub types of places.
Then you'll get that. But
you get the good stuff. Yeah.
Anything that's mass produced, whether it be your local, what do they call that, chain pub store,
right?
Or McDonald's, they all have this flavor about them. This maybe, I don't want to offend some people, but a deadness about them.
Yeah, they don't have the same energy to them. Yeah,
that they don't have the same energy, the same. Yeah. The patting the patties together and choosing the buns and cutting the cheese and getting all that stuff, and then the intention that I'm going to make you something wonderful.
Right.
Right. And until you said that the way you said that, it's the first time in how many years that we've been together that I've said, Now I know what she means.
Yeah. See, I figured I keep repeating myself in different ways. Eventually I'll find the right words.
I can be taught. It just takes many, many years.
Well, some of us hang on to the old way of thinking longer than others.
I just never really made that connection before, and you building or creating with intention.
Yeah, it really
making with intention.
It really does make a difference. I mean, I want to pretend that the movie Like Water for Chocolate was just this big fantasy, but the reality is, if you're really feeling joyful and loving and caring and nurturing when you make a batch of cookies for your family, the cookies will taste one way, which will communicate, honestly, the joyful, the careful, the loving, all of that.
Right.
And if you're really angry and you make a batch of cookies, exact same recipe, everything the same, it won't taste the same. There will be an edge to those cookies, and they won't be as satisfying to the family. They won't be what they quite expect.
That'd be a fun experiment just to see.
I may have lived that experiment a few times. You've been angry when you were baking in the past at times.
You may have experienced that. But with that idea in mind of like intentionally baking with intention of happiness and joy, or getting me really, really angry and then going off and making cookies for you. Would that still hold true? Would that knowing batch A or batch B and then giving it to some third party person, say, do you like batch A? Do you like batch B?
Yeah. I would say that I personally would hypothesize that the ones made with joy and love and all of that would be the preferred batch of cookies, pretty much all around.
It would be a great experiment.
It would be an interesting experiment. I'm going to put this experiment out there that I've done. I have a couple of them that are involving essential oils. When you and the son were much younger, when he was much younger, there was a lot of friction in the house at various points for various reasons. And I made it a habit of putting a drop or two of lavender essential oil on your pillow or on his, or spritzing them with a hydrosol, also generally lavender, sometimes rose, but usually lavender.
I'm feeling violated at the moment.
I know, but lavender is reputed to be good at calming the nerves and calming energies, just getting people to emotionally balance and calm down. And it has been reported that I've read that it's particularly helpful for men, that men tend to respond to lavender in that way more readily than women. So there have been a few times where I've used that because there was some huge fight happening in the house and a lot of friction and a lot of tension, and it was explosive and unpleasant. And I thought, well, if I can get you two to sleep and calm your asses down, I just swore, calm yourselves down, then maybe I could get things moving again.
Sorry.
I can say that I was really quite frustrated and, as the older folks say, fit to be tied at that point. So I tried it, and I have found, I've done it a handful of times over the last decade, and I have found that it is a very effective tool in calming down individuals who need to just, be more effective. So that's my experiment, one of my experiments.
Well, we've used essential oils, at the house off and on over the last 20 years.
Yeah, and I usually pull them out when tensions are running high. I tend to do that.
There's two times they get pulled out. One, if there's sickness in the house.
Yeah, I do that too. Yeah.
And then if, the other thing, now I know that if the diffuser's running, tensions are high. But even today, before we were recording, and I've got a stressful time right now in my other job, and breaking away to do Real Herbalism Radio, and sometimes it's not where my headspace is,
right? And
so I get really stressed out, and then I lash out. And before we actually sat down to record, I had a suggestion. I said, hey, maybe we should get a diffuser in the office here, and and I thought about it. I was like, that'd be so nice to just it just takes the edge off. And I mean, and I've got alcohol in the fridge, but I don't need to keep drinking alcohol to take the edge off.
I think a diffuser would be a better choice all around.
Well, yeah, especially when you can accentuate the moods that you want. If you want to be more relaxed, there's essential oils. If you need to be more peppy, there's essential oils.
They have studies. I think there was a study in Japan where they tried a variety of different essential oils, and if I remember correctly, bergamot was one of the top ones for increasing general happiness and contentment in the workplace, as well as productivity. So people tended when they
like the stuff they use in Earl Grey.
Yeah, like the stuff they use. Yeah, exactly. And I think lemon ranked up pretty high too, with having a positive effect on people. So the takeaway from it was, if you want to enhance that sort of positivity, but also efficiency and more productivity, then the citrus family was a good one to look at. Mm-hmm. And there have been various other studies that look at like the effect of essential oils, various different essential oils on sleep or on, love making, or,
right.
There's a bunch of different ones that have been done. I don't have all the stats or remember everything on all of them, and I didn't think to look that stuff up before we recorded this.
But I mean, this isn't about the stats and the numbers and that. I mean, There are studies, you can go find them. Erica's got a lot of stuff that she sourced in the back of her book. So if you really, really want, the heady numbers, you can get them.
Right.
Our show isn't always about
it's not always
the
about
numbers.
Stats. Yeah.
And, it's
about experience.
It's the practical approach to herbs, real life, real herbs, real easy. And that's the idea. We could quote stats and stuff, but no one wants to hear all of the
right.
I've read some of the studies. They're so boring.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, my two favorite pages of most studies are the synopsis page. Okay, thanks, got it.
Good enough. I can say that a couple decades ago, early on, long before the child had arrived, you were a student, and at the time I had read something about how certain essential oils were supposed to be good, and so I bought this blend for helping with focus.
Right.
So I bought this blend of rosemary, ginger, and I think it was lemon. I think the third one. It was a relatively simple blend, and I told you I was going to diffuse it while you were studying because you were struggling and you were really stressed out and you were becoming rather cranky. It wasn't very fun. So I thought, well, maybe if I can help you with this way, that'll help make finishing off your education experience more comfortable.
Right.
And at the time, you had a bit of an edge about you, and you were like, that's not going to work. That's just stupid. Whatever. And I did it, and I just did it for you when you were sitting down to study. I just did it, and you grumbled, and after about, I think it was a week, and the first test that you had the first big test you had after I started doing that, you just quietly started doing it for yourself.
Well, the other thing too is that it became a
it's like a ritual.
Ritual and setting your space.
Yeah.
And what you were going to do. I mean, I do that if I'm in a woodwork. I go in my garage. I turn on music that I want to listen to. Maybe I crack a beer. I set the shop up the way I want to do it for the things I'm going to be doing. I have the intention. And I don't just go out there and throw something together and do it unless I have to. It's usually I'm intending to work for a few hours at least, so I'm going to do this. And if I put my space in there right and my headspace right, then I'm ready to be productive. I think before we sat down today, my headspace wasn't here. And this happens often when we record, is my headspace isn't here. And, maybe, if we get that diffuser, we have to, maybe an hour before we record, we put
the diffuser on.
Set the space,
Use the Stay Calm and Focused essential oil blend, which was based on that early one. Yeah. Just calm.
and maybe, but that again, you get the Pavlovian response of, oh, I'm going to be doing this, or I'm getting ready to do this. I need to switch gears.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes, I'll be working literally up to recording.
Oh yeah.
And then, between the space between recording and work, or a bad email I just got might be, 5 minutes. And that's not fair to you. It's not fair to the listeners. It's not fair to our process. And, I don't know. I just, maybe
it's a challenge. The challenge that you're facing is something that all of us face at various points. And it gets harder when things are more intense, and it gets easier when things lighten up, but it's still there. The whole point of a lot of different meditation practices are about learning how to tame your mind and get it to focus in the direction you need to focus in at any given moment. And it isn't for some woo-woo reason. It's because if you can't focus your mind, then you're going to end up in these states of discomfort a lot more frequently. So, we have sciences. I mean, yoga is like a science built around how to make the choices that will help your entire health structure on all levels, including your mind, be more enjoyable, to just be healthier and all of that. Mm-hmm. So we all face it. We all face those challenging times. And, I've been reading, I am woo-woo, and I'm going to just say that I am. And
I think that's been well documented on this show.
I've been reading and listening to the astrologers this year talking about all the various astrological things and what the planets are doing and what the meteoroids are doing. And they use words like conjunctions and trines and all this other stuff. And it's very fancy language. And I really don't understand a decent portion of it because I haven't studied it. But what I'm getting from it is that a lot of the things that I'll see, I'll listen to an astrology report at the end of the week for the week that it has just passed. And I'll have noted, okay, this was stressful. This person was having more struggles. That one was less. These are the types of things that were going on. These are the challenges I've had this week. I'll be thinking about that stuff. And I sit down and listen to the astrology report. And the thing that amazes me is how much the energies that she or he, the astrologer, is talking about are reflected in the actual experiences of the people around me, most of whom don't even think astrology is a real science. So the energies of everything around us have an effect. You eat some food and your toenails grow better. It's all connected.
Right.
So I figure what she talked about with doing the hydrosols and doing the ritual and all of that, that's also connected. It's all connected.
If you're an herbalist who wants to build a business working with plants, you do not want to miss the 3rd Annual Herbal Entrepreneur Conference. This year, the 5-day virtual event held from March 22nd to 26th and will be the event of the year for herbal business owners. The host, Yolanda Joy, has pulled together an incredible lineup of speakers, including Rosemary Gladstar, Margie Flint, Nancy Phillips, Lucy Jones, Talil Al-Ahmad, and many more. These successful herbal business owners will share their best tips, strategies, and ideas to help you on your journey to grow your own herbal business. Believe it or not, right now you can get a ticket to the Herbal Entrepreneur Conference for free. Just head over to herbalentrepreneur.com to register, and you'll get all the details you need to attend, sent to you via email. I've already grabbed my ticket. Get yours now.
I think our big thing this week is going to be I've got a diffuser at home I can bring in, and I'm going to do that.
No. Yeah. We're going to get one.
No, I've got a good one at home. I like it. I just don't use it because it uses a candle.
Oh, yeah.
And we have a parrot. We have a parrot at home. So I'm like, well, I can find that. I mean, if I can't find one, I'll go buy one. But
oh, man. What do you get the ones that do the smoke?
The steamy kind? We can do that. We can get the fancy pants vapory one.
I like the
it does feel like it's doing something, right? Doesn't it?
I mean, that's so commercial, right?
Right.
I know the other one works because we've had it for years.
Right.
And it it has a little copper vessel with a stand and a thing. And it looks great. It's very steampunk.
Yeah, it is.
But I'm like, I saw those other ones, and they do the they make a cloud, and it looks like it's doing something.
All right,
but because here's the thing. You still need a diffuser for your room and a bedroom. You need this clandestine essential oils you're going to be doing to people.
Well, I do those in spritzers. I either make an essential oil spritzer or I get hydrosols and I blend
I can
those.
see.
So,
Okay. Is there a good place? Well, Erica's book is actually probably the best way to go.
Erica's book,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I was going to say a good place to really learn blending, learning that stuff, doing
Yeah.
that thing. And I remember, yeah, she's got some great recipes in that book.
Yeah. And she teaches classes too.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, definitely. You could go in and get some online training
Yeah.
with her for sure.
Yeah, she would be my first stop. There's another one that I've been looking at. It's called, if I remember, the Aromatic Studies. It was the school. It's the herbalist who runs it is named Jade Schutz. Shuttes. Jade Schutz.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen a lot of really interesting and what looks like really fun lessons coming out of there too. She's got a database that I just happened upon, which maybe has always been there, and I was taking a look at her chamomile essential oil monograph this week. And so that one looks like another, like of the two that I've been, of the ones that I've been looking at, the two that look most interesting are Erica for sure, Jade, and I think it's the School for Aromatic Studies, if I remember correctly.
Right.
And then Tisserand's Institute is also, it's always a good one. They get more sciencey there. So it kind of depends on what approach you're looking for, I guess.
Right.
But
I know it seems like we're winding down a bit, but I do have to bring one point that, as you were speaking, that I thought of, and something that Erica had mentioned, was the sheer volume of plant material that goes into making an ounce or a drop of essential oil.
Yeah,
how much plant material it takes to do that.
It varies from plant to plant, but even on the ones that are the most abundant, like lemon, which the reason lemon essential oil is so cheap,
inexpensive, is
exactly.
It's easy to get.
Exactly. It doesn't. You get a lot of essential oil out of one little lemon peel.
Right.
But it's still a lot of lemon peels to make up that little bottle.
So there are some companies out there that are producing this product, and I think her idea or her method or not her stance maybe is on the whole resource and abundance, and these are finite in their production, and the more that we tout how good they are, the more people want to use them, which is great. I mean, they're a good thing, but we have to be respectful of that. So, if you have a choice of choosing between, and I know this is going to be a hard thing for me to say because I'm Mr. Bargain Boy, but if you have a choice between, a $3 essential oil blend and the $10 or $15 blend, and it's the same, quote unquote, same thing,
but
I can guarantee you're going to get more potency and longer life out of that larger bottle than you are that smaller bottle, or those equal bottles at the same price.
Right. What you're essentially saying is go for the quality and recognize the quality will be reflected in the price most likely.
Right.
And if it's handmade artisan level, like what like what Erica is doing, that is the level you want to be aiming for.
That's what you want to use. I mean, you wouldn't use herbs that are on the edge of a freeway to treat somebody, and you shouldn't use, manufactured essential oils that are not sustainably harvested or grown in those. You got to make a stand. The only place that we can make stands oftentimes is with our pocketbook. Make those choices to reward those companies that decide this is the way to do it, and don't give your money to the companies that say anyway, all way, all the time.
Yeah.
Because we go right back to the beginning of our conversation. The expensive bottle was made with intention and love, and everything in there. The other one was just made.
Yeah, the other one was taken. Yeah.
It was just made.
Yeah.
And the intent on that one was just to make money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, I think I just wanted to point that out because she's mentioned that a couple times. I think I can't stress that big enough point on that.
Yeah, that's one of the big reasons why I wanted to start the Real Herb Market too, so that we are creating a space that helps to hopefully give handmade herbal herbalists who make their products by hand,
Mhm.
who are putting that care and intention into what they're doing, it gives them a marketplace that's devoted to them instead of one where they're competing with the manufacturers. You know,
Right.
that quality really matters. That intention really matters. It makes the best herbal preparations.
That is one of the things that is the goal of the herb. Their market is high quality, intentionally made products, developed and made by individuals.
Yeah, and sold by those individuals.
Yeah.
We're not doing the selling or the handling or anything. They're doing all of that themselves, and they're making the profit themselves,
Mhm.
which I would prefer to see, because I want herbalists to be in business and not scraping by. I want herbalists to be in business and happy, living life in a way that is fulfilling.
Well,
Having their bases covered.
How many herbalists have we met over the years that, it's a sideline? They want to make it full. They want to do it, but they can't seem to break through the barrier of quitting their day job, if you will, because they can't sell enough product, or they don't know how to do their websites, or whatever it is.
Yeah, or they've been undercut by large manufacturers, that's shameful.
Yeah.
That should happen.
No.
Yeah, I want to destroy the myth of the starving herbalist.
Yeah, I can see that. I want to elevate individuals to make a success from the things that they love to do. I mean, I don't love making herbal products. That is not my jam.
Right.
But I love making the tools that make herbalists the ability to promote their stuff.
Yeah.
So that's where I fit in. It's very tangential,
Right.
but that's the idea, is that, that's the podcast, that's the website, that's, everything that we've done is about that.
Yeah. It's about helping people find success with herbs.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So speaking of success, Patrick,
Mm-hmm.
we need to check in on our New Year's resolutions.
Oh.
We are almost 2 months into the year now.
Yeah, and before we go in there, we're 2 months in the year, and where are our listeners? We have put out the call, we have got the forms, we've got the things, and I haven't seen one of y'all share your New Year's resolutions.
We have not had anybody share theirs, and I decided early on that I was going to assume it probably was because the years for many of us got off to a much rockier start than expected.
No,
I mean,
it did, but
in America, we had political unrest that was shocking, and then there were reverberations from that. And then we also have had storms and weather that's shocking, and reverberations from that.
True enough. I mean, if you were in Texas and your goal was to work out every week or every other day, that wasn't happening for all of last week, for sure. I get that. So back to the thing. So anyway, it's still not too late. Check in, see how you do.
There's no reason why you can't. You can always start your New Year's resolutions right here, right now.
Right.
You can just start them now.
You can change.
You don't have to wait for next year.
Call your spring resolutions.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's a good one. So how are you doing on yours, Patrick?
What was mine?
As I recall, yours was involved with bike commuting.
Oh, so I have done bike commuting. In fact, I looked at my one of my apps that I used to track it last night, and I'm averaging about 60 to 70 miles a week.
Nice.
Bike commuting.
Nice.
Usually it's 3 times a week. I've skipped a couple days because the weather was just too cold. I would go out in the morning one time and it was really cold, and I get to the office and my hands were burning, and I just decided that was the threshold. Anything below 38 degrees, not biking. And if it's pouring out, I'll wait for 45 minutes. Doesn't work, I'm driving in.
You did arrive at work absolutely soaked to the bone once, and I was like, wow, I'm impressed that you did it. You told me that it started raining. You were like quarter of the way into the bike ride, and you felt you were too far to turn around.
I couldn't turn back.
It was just gonna do it. Just power through.
So the front of me was wet. If I would have turned around, the back of me would have been wet. So I just went forward.
Yeah.
So I have been doing it. The bike has been awesome, and I'm not making any money on this, but if you are considering an e-bike, go look at the Rad
powered bikes is really good.
Yep, they're awesome.
And And the reality is you could actually, because you have there's a referral program. And if you're interested if you're interested in getting a bike and you want to get an extra $50 off, feel free to let us know and be happy to give you a coupon code for it.
It reminds me, I referred you for a bike, and I have Amazon gift card I have to go use.
Yes, you do. So got something fun. You could buy me a birthday present.
Oh, excuse me? How many things did you get already? Yeah.
The bike being one of them.
Well,
it was an early birthday present.
Yeah, there's a few things, but that's okay. So I was doing well. I am doing well. I'll be biking in tomorrow. How about you?
My first part of my New Year's resolution was just to get my diet a little bit more under control in January, because I got way off the rails with eating way more sugary treats and grainy things than was good for me through the holidays. Mm-hmm. And I did manage to do the majority of that. I still haven't quite kicked my Reese's peanut butter cup habit. But I received a gift for my birthday that I think will actually help me get that under control.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. My lovely son's girlfriend. She's not a daughter-in-law. They're not getting married, at least not yet. But she gave me a bag of 50 Reese's peanut butter cups because it was my 50th birthday. And I thought that was absolutely delightful. And in fact, I decided that I will treat myself to one of those every week. So 1 cup a week gets me through almost the entire year. And if that's all I have, that's actually better for me. 1 a week is much better than 70 in a weekend.
Well, to be fair, it's also, I like them too, and that's a problem. So when we get together and we both like them, we buy too many of them.
You turn 50 soon enough. Maybe you'll get another 50 of your own.
No, I'll want different things. But
So anyway, I did the majority of that. Went well. So I did buy myself the bike, which I was planning to do if I could get my diet under control. Mm-hmm. And I got it, and I have learned how to bike again, which was pretty awesome. And I'm much slower than you. It took me a while to get my coordination down, because even though they say it's like riding a bike, you never forget. The fact is that after 30 or 40 years, you might start to forget. And while you're not forgetting intellectually, my body is not the same as it was when I last biked at age 14 or 15 or 16, whatever it was. It's definitely a different shaped body with different capacities. So learning to bike again was not that hard, but it took me a few weeks, which for me, I started off with just my first rides were like a mile or 2. And then I worked up to 3 miles, and now I'm up to 8 miles for a ride. So that's really, for me, that's really, really good. And I've also noticed that my legs are getting a lot stronger, which is not surprising. I noticed that there are some of the minor muscles, like in my calves, that I need to work on. And I saw my Feldenkrais practitioner, and she gave me an exercise to do that'll help with that. Because what I noticed was that areas that didn't used to hurt started hurting, which I suppose is pretty normal for new exercise. But, I've been looking for ways to manage those things. I've tried, at one point, my knee was sore after biking. It was, I think, the first day that I did a 7-mile bike ride, and my knee was sore. So I used the cannabis balm on it. Mm-hmm. And I've got a blend that I've done with cannabis and amanita mushrooms and Solomon seal root, and I think I put cottonwood balm in there, balm of Gilead in there. So it's a fairly simple blend, but it's really, really effective. And that I put it on before I went to bed, and I woke up the next morning and there was absolutely no pain, and I was fine. Mm. Normally that would take a couple of days of staying off of it. So I was pretty pleased with that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, my biking is improving. My current working goal is 3 rides a week, a minimum of 5 miles each ride. And I've gotten myself worked up to 7 to 8 miles is doable, although my legs feel a little bit like jelly afterwards. So, you got to be careful. I don't want to mess up a knee, but,
Oh, yeah. And,
Yeah.
The other thing is that we've biked together, which is nice.
Yeah.
I know you always like to walk, but I'm not a walker. So
Right.
biking has been kind of fun.
Yeah, that's been fun. And I've gone out with our son too. We've
Mhm.
gone for a couple of rides here and there. And it's been kind of fun.
Cool.
So,
So,
yes.
yeah, let us know.
Yeah, I hope other people are enjoying some benefits from the New Year's resolutions they've been working on. And if you haven't yet started yours, or you started but then stopped abruptly, there's no reason why you can't get started again. Hopefully it'll go well for you. I mean,
Yeah, all is not lost.
No.
When you're trying to make a habit change or you're going to do something that you like, give up beer. Okay.
Oh, that's a tough one. Yeah.
If you do your best and you fail one day,
That's all right.
the next day you just keep trying.
Yeah. Every day is a new day.
If you have that intention, and then when you have the day that you don't have one, pat yourself on the back.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, I did it.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone through that many times.
Although I would suggest that you may not want to reward yourself with a Reese's peanut butter cup every day.
No, that's why I said a pat on the back,
Pat on the back is better.
not a substitute.
Yes.
For the
maybe
item.
a nice cup of peppermint tea would be a good one, or spearmint tea. That would be a better reward.
Okay, you go that, yeah. Right.
I like cinnamon tea. That's a good reward. It's very sweet. I think I've got a sweet tooth going. What does that mean?
All right. So with that, put an herb on it.
The statements made about herbs and products on this podcast have not been evaluated by the United States Food and Drug Administration, FDA, and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. All information provided on this podcast or any affiliated websites is for informational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for advice from your physician or other healthcare professional. You should not use the information on this podcast and its affiliated websites for a diagnosis or treatment of any health problem. Always consult with a healthcare professional before starting any new vitamins, supplements, diet, or exercise program before taking any medication, or if you have or suspect you might have a health problem. Any testimonials, questions, or case studies are based on individual results and do not constitute a guarantee that you will achieve the same results.